Can I start by asking the politest rude question, which is why are you here?
Because I've just been asked to come by the manager. That's all. I think he's got a couple of things he needs to do.
He's not avoiding us because of maybe what happened on...
No.
Not at all?
Not at all.
And his mind's all right and he's okay?
He's fine. He's fine. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I think people in the last couple of games would be concerned that maybe things
Which
are getting
couple of
to
games?
him. Well, the game of the weekend and the game in the Champions League afterwards, that maybe he was a little bit angry and frustrated. Is that?
In what way? Sorry, go on.
Well, I think he was testing.
Let's go back to the game at the weekend.
Well, the West Ham game, the first game, you've not scored in 7 months, so that's going to be frustrating. And then.
Where did it? What's supposed to have happened after West Ham?
No, I'm just saying he's cutting a frustrated figure. But is that a natural thing when things perhaps aren't going as well as they were last?
Sorry, I'm not with it. Where's he cutting a frustrated figure? And that's.
No, just some of the things he said, just his body language, especially more perhaps on Tuesday night. And I'm not talking about...
So we can put West Ham away, so West Ham...
Right.
Okay, so let's just talk about Tuesday.
Shall I start by saying, is he all right?
He's fine.
Is it understandable, though, that he might be frustrated?
Well, no, I don't think it's a case of being frustrated. I mean, we're in a game that we... against Ajax, where we all know that after 3 games it became in many ways a vital game. I mean, we words get written, it's a must-win game, etc., etc., etc. And yet, ironically, we sit here now and we're mathematically not out. And nobody's trying to put a gloss on a situation. You know, we sit bottom of a group, and it's not just our results that we need to get right in the last 2 games. Then other results have got to go for us as well. So nobody's trying to gloss over things or look for a positive in that whatsoever. Let's just clarify that. We conceded 2 goals and gave ourselves a mountain to climb. We conceded 2 goals from set pieces. Now, we haven't been doing that. You know, we conceded 1 in Ajax as well over the last 2 weeks. So therefore, we look at that and you think, right, okay, well, that's something that we'll have to get on the training pitch to do, and we'll have to tighten things up. But, we're talking about that because you always look at what you're doing well and what you're not doing well in particular periods, not necessarily over a season, but into particular periods to try and that's what your job is, basically, to work on them. But we gave ourselves a mountain to climb in a game through 2 goals that aren't particularly created, that come from set pieces, that are avoidable. And then we had the tensions of the game. We got ourselves back in it. In the second half, we more or less dominated territorial possession, I think. By doing that, you always risk something on the break, but we limited Ajax to very few chances, I think, in that second half. And therefore, there is not a tension, but the ball's not going in the back of the net in a game. You get back to 2-2 with 20 minutes left. We have a goal disallowed. Now, nobody's turning around. At the end of the day, the week before that, we had a goal that was disallowed for West Ham. So we can't go too much on the fact that we've had a goal disallowed for offside. People make mistakes. And then we have a free kick in the last seconds that the referee allows to go into the box. He allows it to be taken. There's an header that comes down. I think the camera angles and show that there's a clear penalty there. Now, why wouldn't somebody be frustrated? Who's the manager of a football club? Why wouldn't we all be frustrated? Players are frustrated, supporters are frustrated, staff are frustrated. And Robbie's gone onto the pitch and he's spoken to the referee. And as he's coming back, he's got a camera in front of his face. Now, he's got that camera in front of his face for 30 yards, and turns round and he speaks in English to him, and it basically is saying, look, that's enough now. But people then want to start talking about things that have happened and almost exaggerating the incident. I don't think he's the first manager to have gone onto a pitch and seen it. I think if you go onto Wikipedia, you'll find that actually he's done it before as well, not just as a manager, but as a player. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's what he does. And we can sit here and we can drag it on for another 3 days if we want to drag it on for another 3 days, or even 4 days if we want. But that's what seems to be, to me, the thing that's happening around us at this moment in time. Half voices, half truths, stories that are probably big enough to go one day, are actually lasting a lot longer than that. And for what reason? I don't know. I don't know what the reason is. I just know that we've got a game against Tottenham, and that's what we should be talking about. But the manager for 3 or 4 press conferences, I think, has come in and not really spoken about the next game. He's spoken about what people want to write about and things.
Is he more philosophical about the Champions League? Forget all the incidents and everything. I mean, there is a hope there. It's not mission impossible, is it? Or is it?
No, it's not mission impossible. I mean, it's never mission impossible, is it? Really, it's mission impossible as and when mathematically you can't qualify for the Champions League. But let's not be stupid about this. This is a mountain. We've given ourselves another mountain to climb in the Champions League. But by my quick maths, I think we've got 2 games. We've got Tottenham and we've got Aston Villa before our next game in the Champions League. Correct me if I'm wrong, I would think that leading up to Real Madrid, you'll be asking questions about the Champions League. So we're probably going to duplicate your questions now by going about the Champions League.
All right, you mentioned perhaps, I don't know, concentration. You also mentioned about not getting the breaks. Is it that combination of perhaps not getting the rub of the ball and you talk
No, I don't think so. No. I think we gave ourselves a mountain to climb. We scored 2 goals in a Champions League game. But if you concede 2 from set pieces, you can talk about different things. When we played Dortmund at home, Dortmund created several chances and only scored 1 goal. Nobody's turning around and saying we give ourselves a mountain to climb them. We did by terms of the fact that Dortmund were much better than us on the night. This was a thing where we've conceded 2 goals from set pieces, which we're disappointed in doing. And where we can put that right is on the training pitch.
Is the problem there's a knock-on effect going into the Premier League to concentrate on the preparations for Spurs because you've had that setback in midweek? Is it almost your job this week to get everyone's mind focused on playing here rather than playing in Europe?
Well, you can just put the league table up if you want. That usually helps.
And in saying that, are you saying the criticism is unfair because you are...
No. I'm saying that it happens. It's not a waste of time saying it's unfair. I mean, at the end of the day, we're in an industry where you have to write, you have to ask questions, and we have to train, and we have to train on a football pitch, and the 2 meet together. Nobody's saying anything's unfair. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's... It's what can I do, or what can Roberto do about what's written, what's said? We can't really do anything. All we can do is concentrate on our work on the training pitch, which is what he does. We can concentrate on our work on a weekend or a weeknight, whatever it is, and try and win football matches. Now, or try not to lose football matches. That's better, And all I know at this moment in time, and I might say it a little bit like that, but I can look at a league table and I've been involved in worse crises in my life, I think.
How difficult a game is Spurs then?
Very difficult, very tough. I think what Tottenham have got is over the years, not just this year, obviously under Villas-Boas now, but with what Harry's created there, and Andre Villas-Boas has gone in there and he's added to that and he's developed that. I think they've got a group of players, young, energetic, players that can harm you, that can score a goal in an instance. You're not talking about somebody here that can't actually come and go to win a football match. And that's no disrespect to some of the other teams, but they've got several individuals, I think, that can turn a game in an instant, and as a result of that, it becomes very, very difficult in its own right because of that.
Just looking at that table, you mentioned that. I mean, you're the only unbeaten side there, just 2 points off the top.
Are we?
Yeah. Maybe you're not getting the credit for that, I don't know.
No, I never. Well.
No, but are you satisfied with where it is in terms of the rest of the season and then being in the right place to defend this title properly? Because it looks as though you are in the right sort of place.
Well, I think the league table starts to take some kind of shape after 10 games or so. I think, we're not a third of the way into it yet, but after 10 games it starts to take some kind of shape, I think, I think if you'd have started at the beginning of the season and you'd have said, right, after 10 games, where are our teams going to be? You might have looked at it and we might have had more points. Manchester United might have had more points. Chelsea might have had less points. I don't know, but I would say that if you'd have turned around and said the teams who aren't going to be in the top 5, 6, you wouldn't have been a million miles away. The teams that are going to be in that mid-table, you wouldn't have been a million miles away. And the teams that are towards the bottom, you wouldn't have been a million miles away. There might be the odd team that surprised you. I think and I hope that people would have said that we would be in the top 3, challenging for the championship. That's where we are.
Housekeeping-wise, anything fresh injury-wise?
Nothing fresh, other than positive fresh, really. We've got players back on the training pitch. Maicon's back on the training pitch, obviously. Silva's back on the training pitch. Let's not get carried away with headlines again. We're talking about him being back on the training pitch. This is the first day's training that we've had since Ajax. The boys came in and had a light session on Wednesday, and they were off yesterday. So it's the first day we've been back on the training pitch, but David's back in there. Maicon, Jolien. So the ones that are still out, you know, Jack, who is back doing some work on a field, which is good. He's not training with us. Milner's back on the field doing some work, but not training with us this morning. And Micah's the one that, you know, we're not going to be discussing for a little period of time, obviously. So in terms of that, there's the positives are there. Yeah.
Thank you.
David, have you found the attitude of the players this week? Anything noticeable after the disappointment in the week?
They came in on Wednesday and they had a loosener. You know, the lads who played and everything, we did our normal routine, they had a loosener. Players are resilient animals. You know, people don't give them credit for it. The people think that they get affected and things like that. It lasts, you know, any disappointment or any pleasure really lasts a very short time, because immediately there's another game coming your way. The boys have got to put the boots back on again. As I said, this is the first day we've had back really on a training pitch when we're all together. But my experience would tell me, and not just here, but at all football clubs I've been at as a player as well, that that'll have gone into the next game.
But with the players, some of them with the Champions League medals and everything else, there's a lot made of these big players wanting to play in the Champions League, which looks unlikely now beyond this group stage. That doesn't affect them in any way, you don't feel?
I feel that players are resilient animals. That I mean, I can say the same thing. I think I've answered that question. So. And
what about yourself? Because you've been around big clubs before, and you alluded to before that it seems that everything's made into big news here. Why do you think that is? Have you not had that anywhere else?
It probably does happen everywhere else. I don't think it's a case of it. I think you get very close to it when you're involved in something. So therefore, when the news that comes about your own club becomes more pertinent to you. Perhaps you speed read other stuff. I think it happens everywhere. There's no point in, in turning around and saying and sitting here and saying, look, you know, it's unfair, it's this and that and the other. What can I do about it? Can't do anything about it, can we? So we may as well just get on with it. You know?
It's not more here because of everything that's gone on in the last couple of years. You don't feel that?
I don't know. You tell me. It's you lot that write it.
I don't.
Okay.
It's nearly 2 years, obviously, since you've last lost in the Premier League at home. They're on one of their best ever runs away from home in the Premier League so far. All the hallmarks of Cracker?
I hope it's a very, very good game, that we win. If you ask me what my priorities are, I hope that we win. I don't care. I think you've got two very attacking sides with players that can change a game in an instant. So, you know, Tottenham will be under no illusions that this is a difficult game for them, but we're not under any illusions either that it's difficult for us.
If Mario were to play, it would be his 50th Premier League appearance. Does more than ever he need a goal right now?
All strikers need goals. I don't think it's just about Mario. I think it's about all strikers. I've been there myself. I've gone when I was playing. I've gone into spells where I haven't scored a goal. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in the chances being created for you. And usually, by the time you get to the end of the season, you start to stack up again in terms of your goal scoring statistics. So, does he need a goal? The team needs goals. Everybody needs goals. We've got 4 strikers, and they'll all enjoy scoring. But that's no different here than it is anywhere else.
You personally, when you went through it, how does it make you feel? Do you go home and kick the cat and stuff like that? Possibly miss?
Thank you. Yeah, flip answer would be that one. Listen, I mean, the worrying thing I think for any striker is when he's not getting chances, when he's not getting efforts on goal. Because Mario last week played against West Ham, and I think he's had 3 or 4 efforts on goal. If a striker's getting 3 or 4 efforts on goal, eventually the ball will start going in the back of the net.
I just finally from Ed, just as far as David, Jolien and Maicon are concerned, do they have any chance of being involved on Sunday? Or
they're back on the training pitch, so we got 2 days training before that. Maicon we was involved the other night, albeit with very little training under his belt the other night, but he's got more than that now. David 2 or 3 days, Jolien, yes, I would have thought so because he's not been out for too long. All of them are available for selection at this moment in time. Listen, we've got 2 training sessions. If one of them feels something, and you can do that when you're coming back from injury, you can feel that it's not quite right without actually having a setback. and then you'd look at the precaution. But at this moment in time, they've all got a chance of being involved.
David, we hear managers complaining about referees a lot lately. So do you think that refs are being treated fairly at the moment?
I think it's a very...
I'm not thinking about the Clattenburg incident, I'm just in general.
I just think it's a very difficult job. I mean, everybody knows it's a difficult job, you know. The game's played at such a pace. I think referees see things, you know, it's not just referees either. They seem to get the butt of the things, but you have to understand that they're assisted by people as well. And if those assistants get decisions wrong, then it's the referee that pays the penalty for it in terms of what happens media-wise and what happens through managers and things like that. But listen, I mean, we're all in a multi-million pound, billion pound industry where there's scrutiny about it. We're all in that, referees as well, and therefore we just have to accept it and do our jobs and go on with it. I think, you know, some of the criticism, I don't think that they make decisions on purpose. I think they make them genuinely, and if they make errors like everybody else does in every industry and every walk of life. Fortunately, ours is scrutinised. We don't have a delete button on our word processes.
Do you think managers use to deflect attention to referees to kind of deflect attention from their own shortcomings and
No,
teams?
no, I don't. No.